So that was a chat with our two DD2 pole sitters from the main class and of course the Masters as well, which was Martin Mortensen and Martin Pearce. The Martins doing well yesterday. The grid for this pre-final for DD2, which will be run over 13 laps as well, is going to be as follows. It's going to see Martin Mortensen start from pole position. Much better year he's having so far. No, it's early stages, but much better year so far compared to last year's senior class. He starts with alongside him Kevin Ludi on that front row, very experienced front row, it has to be said. Row 2, then we have Lucas Bartosik, a winner from yesterday, and Harold Garkaklis is there in 6.41. On row 3, we then see Geordie Levins and Barry Pullinger, who had a consistent run to some good results yesterday. On row 4, it's going to be Joey Alders and Mick Vissoffer. Row 5 sees Tadina Slavinsky and Pascal Marchel. Just outside the top 10, row 6 is Marco Gottler, the German, and Maxi Fleischmann. Row 7 then has Luca Kamali and Vili Valanen in what's going to be 14th place for this race. Back on row 8, it's going to be Konstantin Scholl, who finds himself a long way down after qualifying on pole from Friday, but he had one of bad heats yesterday. Philip Sewer is alongside. On to row 9 is Aaron Sherlock and Dullah Rawahi. And then on row 10 we've got Martin Pearce, first of our Masters runners, with Frank Kanshar alongside. Champion from last year, again not the best of days on Friday with qualifying, but he did work his way through very nicely in the heat yesterday. Row 11 then sees Michael Cole and Sam Schmelt. Back on row 12 is Imco Arts and Slavomir Moransky, another Masters runners. 13th row is Cosimo Durante and Marius Rua. 14th row is going to be Patrick Weinstock and Christian Davies. On to row 15, the ones that had to go through the second chance heat this morning as well. That was Dennis Kroes after quickest in qualifying on Friday. Tamsin Germain, again another of the Masters runners. Row 16 is Tim Verelst and Richard Faulkner. And row 17 is Richard Jutt and Elja Oloskins to round out another strong field of 34 competitors. 3 have had to go home early with no points to be scored for them from round number 1. This normally is where you find the more experienced racers from the last few years that have worked their way through the categories, juniors and seniors, or possibly have been around in DD2 for quite a few years. But they are the ones everyone looks up to and you expect to do very well, and that should be the case for the start of the race. Also, once they work their way through the last couple of corners, we've got the marshal there just making sure they're all slowed and in their right positions, spread out evenly across the track as well. Thumbs up there from our marshal down towards the entrance to turn number 8. And then of course they head, entrance to turn number 9, and then they head down towards the last corner at turn 10. Very slow end to the lap from Martin Mortensen, just bringing them down and down and down. You'll be able to pick out some familiar colours here. Of course, the colours of Kevin Ludi for the Spirit Racing team, the all-white overalls of Harold Garkaklis, the blue and yellow machine of Barry Pullinger, and of course that one on pole, always a little bit of a hint of fluorescent yellow from Martin Mortensen as he starts from pole position in this race. So the start to build speed on towards the start finish line. 13 laps for DD2 is about to get underway, still very slow across the line. They now start to build speed even more, and the race does burst into life. Down towards the first corner they go. Martin Mortensen has got a very good start from the first position. He will try and slot into the lead of the race, which he does. Kevin Ludi is going to get a little bit of a tank slapper there, but Barry Pullinger has worked his way through. 4th, maybe just 5th there as he gets squeezed back by 6.44, which is Lucas Bartosik. So good action through the first corner. No sufferers by the looks of it. They've all safely made it through, which is always positive to say. But there's Martin Mortensen on the run down towards turn 5 for the first time. Second in this race at the minute is going to be, by the looks of it, Geordie Levins in cart 6.47. Geordie has come through from the 3rd row, but he's worked his way through on that inside line again. There's been drama there at turn 5 by the looks of it. We'll come back to that in a short while, but there again is the distinctive colours of Geordie for this weekend. 3rd place then at the end of this first lap very shortly is going to be Kevin Ludi. 4th place is Lucas Bartosik, and Barry Pullinger rounds out your top 5. Watch out for Frank Kanshar, as we said, working his way through. Last year's at champion, but I think he may have come to grief as well, maybe. I'll try and pick out that cart. There's damage to 6.38 who comes into the pit lane, the German Marco Gottler, so he's now out of this pre-final DD2 encounter. Frank Kanshar had in fact stormed up into 14th place at the end of the first lap, so watch out for 6.01. The champion is doing well so far within this DD2 race. The leaders head their way down the back straight in towards turn number 5, gets closer and closer between Mortensen and Levins, and also Kevin Ludi is again just there or thereabouts, just to have a slight attack on the top 2. more dramatic racing going on. There's Frank Kanshaw, you just saw him there, the 601 kart. Nice to pick him up in the action in the middle of the field, which he's probably not used to after last year. He had all races second place within the finals. Only one race he didn't get a second place, but that's how consistent he was. He didn't in fact pick up a single win in the finals last year, but that could be changing this year with a brand new team as well. Geordie Levens goes for a lead change, and he gets it done down the inside of Martin Mortensen. And Martin doesn't just lose one place, he goes down to third as well, because Kevin Ludi was on the attack there also. There's Della Rawahi as he works his way on towards the right-hander at turn 4, and behind him in this race we've got the likes of Luca Kamali, I think, down there somewhere in the mix. But lots of action going on wherever you look again in DD2, but it's the leaders we focus on, with Geordie Levens out front for the VC Motorsport team. There goes a move from very late lunge there from Lucas Bartosuk, tries to get down the inside line of our man who's now dropped even further back, Martin Mortensen, so not looking too good for him at the minute. Barry Pullinger is not too far adrift either. He sits there in 5th position, and he gets closer and closer to the top 4 as well. That, though, is the battle for the lead between Geordie Levens and Kevin Ludi. Nothing to choose between them as they come through side by side in towards the first corner, and Kevin Ludi pulls out to get the lead of the race once more. He goes to the head this time. Martin Mortensen fights back behind to get himself back into 3rd place, and as we said, watch out for Barry Pullinger. He's almost there now with the top 4 as we spread ourselves off into 2 groups. The Spirit Racing man Kevin Ludi leads. 2nd is Geordie Levens. 3rd is Lucas Bartosuk. 4th is Martin Mortensen, and 5th at this stage. Still no more places gained for Barry Pullinger. Oh, and there's a mistake there. That is Martin Mortensen. Car 637 is out of the race down at turn 5. He's been spun around by the looks of it, and we can see the carts lurking there. I wonder, again, if that may have been a little bit of contact. That'll, of course, be analysed by the team here in race control, just to see if there was any friction between the two. But definitely Martin Mortensen is down to the rear of the field. What a race this has not turned into for him. One to forget, unfortunately, after being quickest yesterday through the heats and starting on pole position. He's now been taken out and dropped himself to plumb last pretty much. 2 leaders continue the squabble out front though, with Kevin Ludi and Geordie Levens. Through the left-hander at turn 3 they go. And then on towards the hairpin at turn 4. Geordie's looking quite racy. He goes for the move down the inside line. And again, he gets it done. Nice move there from Geordie to now find himself back ahead of Kevin Ludi. I think he said to Kevin there, come on, we need to work together to increase this margin over the rest. It's now out to 2.4 seconds. And it continues to grow by the looks of it. There's the fight for 3rd, which involves now quite a few more carters by the looks of it. We've got Lucas Bartosuk at the head. Barry Pullinger behind him 4th. 5th place is Vili Valanen. 6th is going to be Dinas Slavinsky. And 7th, just about with them, is Mick Visoffer and also Pascal Marchel. They are the top 8 at the end of what's going to be now the 5th lap. They come through, not again quite a half race distance, but we'll get in there gradually as the leaders head down towards turn 1 once more. The gap between 2nd and 3rd has come down, so Lucas Bartosuk is under attack and has been passed now by Barry Pullinger. So Barry goes through, and he's probably the best man to take the rest of the field with him here. So let's see if Barry now can lead the charge to catch the top 2 within this pre-final. Lucas again goes defensive in towards turn 4 because he's got the attentions of Vili Valanen now to hold back as they work their way down the back straight. Vili goes for a move as well, hard on the brakes in towards turn 5. That's going to get a little bit close for comfort between those 2, and now they're joined by more. There's Dezina Stavinsky down the inside line at turn 6. He uses the arms, the elbows, which we saw plenty yesterday. And also in there now is Mick Visoffer and Pascal Marchel, which could have just changed. Yes, they have. Pascal goes ahead of Mick within this race, and to be fair, everyone else further back is still pretty close in this race. There's not too much to choose between them. Again, just a word about Frank Kanshaw, has now worked his way up into 10th position. So great job Frank has done from 20th on the grid. 10 places gained at half race distance, which means half the race to go. Another 10 places are surely on the card here for Frank. But of course, the higher you get up the field, the more difficult the overtaking becomes, especially for a champion. So Frank is down there in 10th, just behind Maxi Fleischmann, and he's in that battle with the likes of Mick Visoffer, Pascal Marchel and Vili Valanen. There go the top 2 through the chicane at turn 5. Now work their way through 6 and on towards turn 7. Good drive being done there by Geordie Levens just to keep everyone at bay. There's Barry Pullinger in 3rd. He has managed to pull away from those behind. He's now got a gap of just over half a second between himself and Lucas Bartosuk. And then Dezina Slavinsky and Vili Valanen round out your top 6 at the end of the 2nd sector. Kevin's looking racy once more. He looks a quick brief look over his shoulder there just to check there's no one in tow, so he can then have a challenge at Geordie Levens down towards turn number 1. But bear in mind, Geordie came from row number 3, the Belgian, up into the top spot in the first couple of laps, and he's held it ever since. So this is a great run now from Geordie Levens. Kevin Ludi again thinks about making a move down towards turn number 4. He'll then try and get the nice advantage down the back straight, see if he can overtake at turn 5, which he can't, so it does mean they stay line astern. There's a move for 4th and 5th. Dina Slavinsky this time goes through on Lucas Bartosuk, so he finally has just about spread a gap wide enough for his kart to get through. Distinctive colours again for Dinas, who races with Unique Racing Team 658. Of course, the orange and white, very bright orange and white colours of Dinas, who comes from Belarus. He's now up into 4th place. What can he do about catching Barry Pullinger for the lead? Again, nothing to choose between those top 2. It's Geordie Levens who still has the advantage of, well, pretty much nothing over Kevin Ludi, to be fair. 500ths of a second as they came through that time. Again, they're being caught by Barry Pullinger, but he's still 2.2 seconds down the road. But if they continue like this, it's going to get closer and closer. So Barry definitely has the chance of catching up. Look at this for a battle. It's Dinas in 4th, Lucas Bartosuk in... Oh, and there's a little bit of contact there between the two. Inter-wheel contact between them and the ones behind. Oh, I don't know which way to go here. There's so many karts, you don't know which way to kind of breed your way through. Frank Canshar is in there as well. We've also got Joey Alders, by the looks of it, who just got himself now into the top 10. So watch out for Joey, who was on form yesterday, but again, a poor heat result dropped him down the field. So whilst that all continues, this has still been going on towards the front between Geordie Levens and Kevin Ludi. Again, a good run from Kevin onto the main straight, which means he affirms himself even better in 2nd place, but he's looking for the race win to get his season off to a cracking start. Could this year be the year for him to take the title? Well, it's looking good so far. Still got another race to come later on this afternoon. There's the fight between Lucas Bartosuk, and also up there now has come 646, which is Mick Vishofer, and a change for the lead finally. Kevin Ludi goes through down at turn number 5. Great cut back there to catch the leaders as they headed out of the chicane, and Geordie Levens has now got to settle for 2nd place. For now, he can always have another go if he wishes to do so. 3 laps to go at the end of this one, so still 3 laps of this 1300 metre track to negotiate. And of course, as we know, on 1 lap there's probably about 5 places you can overtake, so Geordie Levens has the ability to do so. He's shown the top speed so far, although saying that, he comes across the line now, bigger gap than we've seen so far. 3/10 it opens up to. Barry Pullinger gets closer once more. The gap between him and Geordie is down to 1.6 seconds. Again, the closest that's been over the course of this race. Dina Slavinsky still down in 4th, Joey Alders is 5th, and Mick Vishofer is there in 6th, and I'm sure that continues to be as exciting as ever. You can just see them flashing through the screen there through turn 3, and now through the hairpin they go on towards the back straight, and that is Joey Alders, who's come right to the head of this. So great job from Joey, who started 7th on the grid. He was down a little bit lower as the race started to unfold, but now Joey finds himself ahead of Mick Vishofer, Lucas Bartosuk. Frank Canshar again has made up more places. 8th may be the best he can do here, unless he can shake off Vili Valanen and then concentrate on those 2 ahead of him. I think that might be him just about done. Here again come the leaders onto the main straight once more. There is the 2 laps to go, and there's also a blue flag starting to be waved for 641, which is Harold Scar-Cackles. A very quick update on the Masters. We haven't really focused on that at all because there's been so much happening at the front, but Martin Pearce leads ahead of Tamsin Germain and Richard Faulkner by quite a mile, to be fair. Martin's in 15th overall, Tamsin's down in 22nd place, but that's how the top 3 look for now. We'll see if that stays the same to the checkered flag. They go our top 2. Don't think Barry's quite going to get there. 1.2 seconds he needs to close down, and we've only got just under 2 laps to go, so I think that's going to be a harder task than was originally achievable. But of course Barry will continue to push right towards the end of this one as well. There's Joey Alders still in 5th place. Mick Vishofer is now there in 6th. There's a change for 7th. There goes Frank Canshar, last year's champion, gets past Lucas Bartosuk. So a nice move being made there from 6:01 as Kevin Ludi is about to start the last lap of this DD2 Prefinal. Heading towards the first turn, and he has a margin of what's going to be 9/10 of a second over Geordie Levens. So Geordie Levens has got no answer by the looks of it after Kevin Ludi got through around about 3 laps ago now. and has continued to grow that margin over the man in second. There is the fight for 5th place, which involves Joey Alders and Mick Vishofer. And again, look, the battle behind is still Frank Hanshaw with everybody else trying to be in 7th place. You've got Lucas Bartosuk, Vili Valanen. In fact, French has just lost that place once more to Lucas, so that's not going to really help his cause to get any further up on the grid for the final. But now, on this final lap, Kevin Ludi is down towards turn number 8. He works his way on towards the left-hander at turn number 9. And again, what a way to start his season. He's got his way through, up into the lead, and the pre-final win, 34 points, are going to go the way of Kevin Ludi, who is ecstatic with that. He comes across the line to take the checker flag, and he wins in the end by just over a second ahead of Geordie Levens, who again has had a sterling race from 5th on the grid. The Belgian on his home track has got up into 2nd place. He can definitely be pleased with that, and also a couple of places gained there for Barry Pullinger, who gets himself into 3rd place, and very nicely again on the inside run in towards that first corner. So watch out to Barry and see how he flies in the final this afternoon. 4th place goes to Dzina Slavinsky, the Belarusian. Then behind that, Joey Alders in 5th. Mick Vishofer was 6th. Lucas Bartosuk dropped 4 from his starting grid down to 7th. Frank Hanshaw from the back of the grid near enough up to 8th place. 12 places gained from him. And then 9th place for Vili Valanen. 10th place for Pascal Marchel. 11th was Cosime Durante. And 12th place was Constantine Scholl, yesterday's man who started all the heats from pole position and of course quickest in Friday's qualifying. He's struggling in the conditions today for some reason, maybe slightly too hot as the temperature has risen in the air to some 18 degrees. But well done to Kevin Ludi for the Spirit Racing team. He wins and will start the final from pole position, which is the first part of his day done.